Why is it that despite having all the necessary resources, some people still feel unsatisfied while others, with much less, seem to live content lives? Is there a hidden pattern to human behavior that can explain this phenomenon? Take the case of John, a successful businessman from New York. John has everything one could dream of: a thriving business, a beautiful family, and a luxurious lifestyle. Yet, John often finds himself feeling empty and dissatisfied. On the contrary, there's Maria, a schoolteacher from a small town. Maria earns a modest income, yet she's one of the happiest people you'll ever meet. What is it that makes Maria content in her life, while John, despite his material success, feels otherwise? This brings us to the fascinating concept of hedonic adaptation, a psychological phenomenon that explains why happiness doesn't necessarily increase with wealth. Hedonic adaptation is the tendency of humans to return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. In simpler terms, we get used to new situations, whether good or bad, and our level of happiness tends to revert to its previous state. Consider the story of Tom, a lottery winner who became a millionaire overnight. Initially, Tom was ecstatic about his newfound wealth. He bought a new house, a fancy car, and went on lavish vacations. However, as time passed, the excitement faded. Tom began to feel just as he did before winning the lottery. His happiness had returned to its baseline. This is a classic example of hedonic adaptation. On the other hand, there's Emily, who lost her job due to unforeseen circumstances. Initially, Emily was devastated, but as time passed, she found ways to adapt to her new situation. Despite the initial setback, Emily returned to her previous state of happiness. This again demonstrates the power of hedonic adaptation. So, what can we learn from these stories? Well, they all point to the fact that happiness can't be bought. It's not dependent on external factors but on our internal mindset. The key to contentment lies in our ability to adapt and find happiness in our current situation, regardless of how good or bad it may be. To summarize, human behavior is governed by patterns, one of which is hedonic adaptation. We've seen through real-life examples of John, Maria, Tom, and Emily that our happiness levels tend to stabilize over time, regardless of our circumstances. This highlights the importance of finding contentment in what we have, rather than constantly chasing after what we don't. So the next time you find yourself yearning for something more, remember that true happiness comes from within and is not dictated by external factors. The key to a content life might just be the ability to adapt and appreciate what we already have.